Well, welcome to another edition of the Straight Up TV show with myself, Grant Lee. It's good to have your company today. My guest, you can see right there, is somebody that I've admired for so many years now. And I'm not even going to get into intros and everything. Everybody, this is Luke Smith. Hi, Luke. How are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. How are you?
I'm blessed of God. Thank you so much. I will give a little synopsis on you, if you don't mind. So you should know that Luke is a fantastic, talented musician. He's a songwriter. He's a producer. 30 years in the industry as a trailblazer. And from his early years as a session musician, Luke has transitioned into a highly respected solo artist amongst his peers. Some of you might not know, but Luke has penned and produced on some famous popular artists' albums, and you might not know that his production and writing can be heard on the critically acclaimed album of Amy Winehouse's album, which is called Frank, BB King 80, Andrew Lloyd Webber Unmasked. And Luke also went on to work with the late great George Michael and his band playing all over the world. You toured with him as well, didn't you, Luke, for some time?
Y- yes, I did. Yeah, I was
That
blessed to
must
do
have
so.
been
Yeah,
that must have been something real special because I think it was like 106 countries or something like that.
yeah. 106. I think it was 38 or 40 countries, 106 shows around the world. Yeah.
Wow, grossing $200 million. So I could
Mm.
I could easily hit you up for a loan, couldn't I?
I wish. I wish.
Just imagine 20% of that would have been real nice.
Listen, even 1%. I'm not gonna.
Even
I'm not
1%.
arguing with nobody. I'm not
My
arguing
gosh,
with anybody.
those were the days. The great George Michael. And you've over the years you've surrounded yourself with such great artists. I'm trying to cast my mind back and to remember the first time I ever came across you, and that was many years ago. I remember going to Ruach Ministries, the church with Bishop John Francis, who was the senior pastor bishop, and that's the first time I saw you. But in terms of your musical career and getting involved in music and all, how far back does this go, Luke? Was you like a little lad when you started playing? How did it work out?
Yeah, I grew up in a home of music. Everyone in my family, from my parents to my siblings, all play and sing. So yeah, it started off as early as I can remember, really.
Okay, great. And you said you got siblings. How many brothers and sisters?
I have one brother, older brother, and four siblings. So four sisters, sorry.
Okay. And you say everybody does something.
Yeah, everybody sings, everyone plays. I mean, they don't do it professionally, but they're the critics. You know what I mean? They know music.
They know whether you're dropping off or not, right?
They know.
If I remember rightly, Luke, your mum sings as well, right? Because I remember I many years ago I got one of her songs. Is that where it all stems from? Do you think?
Well, it goes beyond that, you know. I there is five generations of musicians in my family.
Yeah.
So it
Okay.
goes it goes back. It
It
goes
goes
back.
back.
It's back, and also it goes forwards. I've got family in the States. Two generations above me doing music. Do you know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's in the
Okay.
blood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. So you don't. Most people know you as a keyboard player.
Mhm.
But you've got an eclectic style. You play jazz, blues, gospel, contemporary compositions as well. Um, but what would you say is your favorite? What do you sort of like gravitate towards? Would you say?
I don't have a favorite, which is why I coined the phrase "my thing is eclectic." It's
Right.
it's how I feel at the time, because music's all about emotion, and I think that depending on where you're at that time, the music reflects how you're feeling.
Absolutely, totally agree. And people say to me, "You're an all-rounder, Lee. Why is that?" I just love good music, and I guess it's about music from the heart, right? For you,
Yeah, I think honest music for me is in a world where we consume so much music. I'm trying to just keep music real honest to me.
yeah. Over the years, you've been through some challenges, and I know that in 2020 you contracted this thing called coronavirus. Nearly took you out, Luke. Tell us about that because it was important. Because during that period of time, you came to an important decision. But tell us about that period of time.
Yeah, it was a very scary time. Yeah, just before the first lockdown, I felt ill. Um, but as usual, you just sort of think it's just a flu. And after a week of being at home, somebody on the phone said, a friend of mine said to me, "You should call the ambulance."
Yeah.
I called the ambulance. They were really busy at the time. It took them about 3 hours to come and get me. But by the time they came and got me, and once I got into the ambulance, it's like my whole breathing changed, and I ended up spending 8 days in hospital, 6 days on the oxygen machine. It was very scary
My
times.
goodness. Yeah, my goodness. Well, safe to say that you made it through. You're here with us now, and
Yeah, through
you
God's
made a
grace, yeah, man.
decision to put. Yeah, God is so good. You made a decision that you wouldn't waste any more time, right?
Yeah, I decided to. I mean, I'd already recorded the album in 2018, but I wasn't sure in which direction and how to sell it or how to market it, should I say. I
Yeah.
was getting conflicting opinions from different people, and it became a bit intimidating. So I just put it in the vault and just thought, well, I don't know what to do, so I won't do anything. And when I was on the hospital bed, couldn't breathe properly, it made me sort of question what is your legacy? If God's going to take you now, have you done what you're supposed to do? Have you finished? Have you poured out of yourself? And it really challenged me to the point where I thought, do you know what? If I get out of this bed, I'm going to put music out. I'm not going to let people um, dictate if I should or not, but I'm going to do it.
And that was a very smart move indeed. So as a result of that, you released the EP, 5, 6 tracks. It's called "It's Time," and I'm so glad that you did. You know why? Because the title track of that EP is "It's Time," and it features the one and only, the great man himself, Mr. Roy Ayers. I've always wondered, because I've been following your career for some time now, I've always wondered, how do you manage to surround yourself with such great musicians? How did the link come with the man himself, um, Roy Ayers? How did that all come about?
Well, Roy, I call Roy Uncle Roy, and Roy
Yeah,
is one of my mentors. I actually went on tour with Roy for a while, so I was able to learn a lot of things. And ironically, we did do Ronnie Scott's back in the day, three
yeah.
weeks every day for 3 weeks straight, 2 shows a day, which was great.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah,
so the
so
relationship was built there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I guess one day you probably said to him, "Listen, I'm going to put something together. Would you jump on it?" And as a friend, he graced you with the title track. Did he have an involvement in its time in terms of the writing or anything like that, or was he just a featured artist in terms of playing?
He was just a featured artist. It was someone that I thought musically I wanted to bring that musical voice into the music.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I was fortunate to have Jerry Brown and Mike Brown and the world famous Pino Palladino, who's probably one
wow,
of the world's greatest bass players
yeah,
at the moment. Pino played bass on that song as well.
my
Um,
goodness.
so I
I
was like, we
love
were
the
so
EP. I love the EP. And just tell us about some of the featured artists. You've got Tony Remy on there. Who else you got on there?
I've got a friend of mine called David Maratpour, who is an amazing genius, multi instrumentalist, plays all the instruments. He's playing vibraphone on the record, but on
Right.
my live shows he plays bass.
Wow. What else does he play?
He plays he's an amazing keyboard player as well, and
Okay.
he plays amazing guitarist,
My
and
goodness.
drums and trumpet. And
My
he's only 29 and he's already got a Grammy.
My goodness, well done to that brother. Well done to that man. 29, and he's got his
Yeah,
first Grammy.
yeah,
My
first
goodness,
Grammy.
well
Yeah,
done, well done. Tell him I said great. Keep it up. So that's the EP. It's called "It's Time." It features some really good artists. Five to six tracks are on there. It came out. Was it during lockdown or was it after lockdown?
it came in after lockdown. During lockdown, I put out singles. I put out "Traveling" first,
And New
and
Dawn.
then "New Dawn." Yeah,
Yeah, when you brought out New Dawn, it just floored me. I've got to tell you, it
oh,
floored me, absolutely floored me. And it leads me to ask this question: what is your favorite way of writing? Because when I listened to New Dawn, I thought to myself, my goodness, how did he put this together? How do you do it, Luke?
I think melody first. I try to grab onto a melody that's timeless, and then I build around the melody.
Okay.
For me, I think that it's because the thing about where music is, it's people want something that is memorable. If there's no melody to lock into, you might enjoy the groove, but you don't understand what's holding on to it. And there's a reason why we're still playing Herbie Hancock or Chick Corea songs 50 years later because the melody was so strong.
Yeah, you've mentioned some great artists there. Chick Corea, Herbie
Mm.
Hancock, favorites of mine, most definitely. For you, who is your favorite? Who do you um, aspire to be like or just draw from?
I
Who
mean,
are the
all
artists?
the all of the greats, all of the greats. I mean, Herbie for me, and they've all got different things. I like the fact that Herbie pushed the boundaries of music and he put himself in an uncomfortable place and pushed until it happened. So I love Herbie. I love George Duke. You know, Chick Corea as well. That's just from keyboards. I mean, there's Pat Metheny. There's so many different musicians that I like, and then you've got those that are not necessarily in the jazz. People like the Richard T or the Greg Finnegans that are very very influential to me as well.
Yeah, most definitely. You've mentioned some great names there, so I can see definitely where you're coming from in terms of inspiration. Um, my goodness, I was. Have you ever done any work with Quincy Jones? Would you like to?
If I could do work with Quincy Jones, then that's it. It's a wrap, innit? It's a wrap. You know
It's
what I
over.
mean? It's a wrap, innit? You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
It's
I'm not. Yeah, Quincy's one of the few guys I've not met. I've not met Quincy. Um,
yeah.
Quincy or Jam and Lewis, they're my favorite producers.
Really?
Yeah,
My
definitely.
God. My God. What for what reason? For what reason would you say Jam and Lewis?
Well, maybe the era that I'm from, the writing and the production qualities and the mix process,
Yeah.
what they were doing was so ahead. Yeah, and even when you look at even in terms of gospel music, you got to think of optimistic. They had a way of bringing music into a mainstream, but still keeping its integrity.
Yeah, with Sounds of Blackness.
Sounds of
Yeah.
Blackness, come on, in
Yeah.
optimistic, you can't deny. If you put it on now, we're all gonna go, there we go.
Yeah, we're going to
Do you know
go
what I mean?
off, aren't we? We're definitely going to go off on that. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So yeah, for you it's melody, and yeah, I can understand why because it's very, very important. Okay, so EP's been doing the rounds, and you've been doing the rounds in terms of performing. I've seen over the last 12 months, probably a little bit more than that, you've done lots of live performances. Ronnie Scott's, you've sold out a couple of times in a very short space of time. Tell us about the other live performances that we've got to look forward to.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be playing Pizza Express
Okay.
on the 7th and 8th of August. So that's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to those shows. I'm also going to be doing a show in Manchester at the Band on the Wall on the
Wow.
22nd of
Hometown.
September.
Hometown.
That's my hometown, so this is my home going. I ain't played there in a good 30 years, so it's gonna be great to go home
And
to
when's
that.
that going to be?
The 22nd of September.
My goodness. My goodness. You're going to create a roadblock, I'm sure.
Oh man.
All the people in Manchester, you've got to get over there. What's the location?
Band on the Wall, which is in Central Town of Manchester. You know, it's a
Okay. Okay.
famous place. You know, it's been there before I was born. To be fair,
Excellent. Mom and dad will be on the front row, I'm sure. And all your
they're gonna
siblings.
be there. Yeah, they'll be there. They'll be there.
Okay, great. All right. So, what else are you working on? You've done so much so far in a very short space of time. What's next for Luke Smith?
Well, I'm actually in my studio at the moment, just programming sounds and parts. I'm about to go on the road next week with Youssef Cat Stevens.
Hmm.
So we've
What?
got a little European tour
Okay.
to do, and then we finish. Our last show is headline at Glastonbury.
My goodness.
So yeah,
You're going to be doing Glastonbury.
yeah,
Nice. Well
yeah.
done. Well done. Okay. Sounds good to me. And you're working on new material?
Yes, I've got a new single coming out on the 22nd of July called Lockdown 2.0. And it's in tribute to a close friend of mine who passed away, Joey, the Anchorman Grant, who lost his life
My
last year.
condolences. Yeah.
Um, and he is a co-writer alongside with Josh McKenzie and Charlie Allen, and Joey's playing bass on it. And I've turned the bass up, man. I didn't, I'm not, I messed about. I just said the bass is loud and proud for a reason. I promised that I was gonna preserve his legacy because he's one of the most influential bass players of his generation.
Most
Do you know what I
definitely.
mean?
Most
Yeah, I
definitely.
mean
So when do we expect that to hit the streets, would you say?
the the
Roughly.
20 the 22nd of July.
Okay. Okay, 22nd of
Yes.
July. That's not even roughly,
Yeah,
that is when it's going to be. All right, so
yeah.
that sounds good. And just give us that title again.
Lockdown 2.0.
Okay. And it features who? Who features on that?
Well, it's basically the band. It's myself, Josh McKenzie, Charlie, Joey, I've horns. I've got some horns in it. Who's horns? Andy Ross and Sid Gold and
Yeah,
percussion Carlos Edwards. Yeah,
my
so
goodness.
they're all my
You got
friends.
Carl, you got Carlos.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
one.
Carlos. Yeah,
Sounds good to me. Over the years, Luke, I mean, your extensive 30 years you've been doing this, probably a little bit more than that,
it's
actually.
more than that now.
Um,
I say that so that
yeah,
I don't sound old. So I don't sound old. But the problem
and you're not,
is
and you look good, and you're
I
not
realize
slowing
that.
down.
Yeah, I realize that I've been in London 30 years, so it's more than that. But
It's a
but it's
lot
like
more.
let's just keep it at 30 years, and that way people won't treat me like an old man.
Oh, you're too funny. And listen, I know that over the years you've been associated with a company called Yamaha. And I heard a little birdie whisper in my ear and said that you did something real special with them. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been an endorser of Yamaha for over 25 years. So what that means is they support me on any of the jobs that I do. Anywhere in the world I need a keyboard, they'll make it happen. And as a result of that, I test the keyboards for them. I promote the keyboards. I get involved in the research and development of the keyboards. So there's been previous models that I inputted in. They listen to my comments and try to implement it in the make of the keyboard. So this latest keyboard, um, they wanted artists to take the keyboard off and program it and create their own individual sounds and play it and actually give the sounds away. So the sounds that I made, you can actually get them free of charge on the Yamaha
Okay.
website, providing you've got that keyboard.
And what model was that? What model of keyboard was it?
That is the YC88.
The YC88. So
Yeah.
you budding keyboardists out there, make sure you go out and get the YC88. Luke Smith programmed it. Remember, I told you. That is a fantastic achievement, Luke. You must be so proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to put back in. I mean, the sound that you're looking for is in your head, isn't it? So if I can stay close to the people that make it and try and get them to articulate what's in my head, then
I've got
I'm a
I've got to
winner.
ask you this question. So you created that sound. Was it used at all on It's Time, the EP? Did you manage to, get it in there on the recording, or is it on the new track? Did you manage to use that
Um,
sound?
I- no, I've not used it on. Have I used it
Not yet.
on some? No, not yet. Not yet. No.
Okay, okay, but I'm sure you're going to because it's a talking
Yeah,
point, right? Most
definitely.
definitely. Most definitely. All right. So thank you so much, Luke, for being our guest today. If people want to get hold of you, book you, and reach out to you, how can they do that?
If you find me on lukesmithmusic.net, everything is on there from and if you hit the subscribe button,
Yes.
what will happen is anytime I'm doing anything, you'll get the first exclusive right on that. From singles to gigs, the subscribers get the information first.
Give
Do you
us
know what I
that
mean?
link once again.
lukesmithmusic.net.
LukeSmithMusic.net. Thank you so much, Luke. Continue to do what you're doing. You're not slowing down at all.
Oh
Continue to
no.
run hard, create history, make memorable music like you've been doing for the last, I don't know how long. I can't wait to get the new single. And yeah, I just pray and wish you all the best as you continue your musical journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Well, there you go. My guest on today's program was Luke Smith. Do go out and get his EP. It's called It's Time, Luke Smith. It features some fantastic artists. I definitely would recommend, if you're a lover of the music of the mind, as I call it, then that's definitely one for your collection. Thank you for tuning this way. I'm back again for another great program. I've got some great artists lined up. If you like what you saw today, why don't you consider subscribing, smash that like button, and I look forward to greeting you again with some more great guests here on the channel. Take care.